All right. Thank you so much, everybody, for attending today. So I'm going to start off with a brief introduction of myself, and then we'll get into the rest of the content. So my name is Kyle McGraw. As Alex said, I'm a senior solution engineer. I've been with Oracle for just over 4 years. My experience before this was a broad variety of supply chain hats, but mostly spending my time in the demand management and supply planning realms. And that's where most of my knowledge lies in the supply chain application suites here at Oracle. So to start off today's conversation, I really want to ask everybody to just think about how fast can you react to supply and demand changes, right? When you're working in your plans, when you're trying to anticipate what's going to happen to your business for the next months and years, how fast do you really think you can react to what's going on in the world today? And the answer for many of us is not very fast, right? Our supply chain in the world is only getting faster and the pace of change is only accelerating. And a lot of people are struggling to keep up with that. So our goal with today's session is to show you how the Oracle Supply Chain Planning Cloud is going to allow you to not only keep up with the pace of change, but actually outpace it, to give you the power to predict and orchestrate your supply chain rather than react after the fact. No longer is it having disparate systems, antiquated software, capability gaps, people working in silos, lack of communication and collaboration, but rather having a best-in-class tool that is futuristic and future-driven, putting power in the hands of your planners to really take that capability gap and remove it and turn it into, an advantage for you as a business. And that's what our supply chain planning applications are built to do. Our core modules are the demand management and supply planning tools to really help you get your forecasting under control and to orchestrate your supply chain. But we also have a full sales and operations planning. If you're looking 2, 3, 4, 5 years into the future, how can I make these large strategic decisions, things like mergers and acquisitions, opening of new manufacturing plants, et cetera, as well as bringing in your financial plans to kind of align your finance with your operations. And if you're heavily supply reliant and you need communication with your suppliers, we have a supply chain collaboration tool to allow you to have communication on that front. Again, the major benefit of the supply chain planning cloud suite is that all of our modules are built to work together. They're built on the same platform with the same tools and the same analytics. So if any of your team learns one of these, they really learn all of them because they all function the same. But that means no longer is there a need for a lot of back and forth between systems, right? I plan my demand, I integrate it, I send it over to an MRP, it runs the changes, these super long run times. Now it's instantaneous impacts. If there's a change in your demand, you will see the change in your supply and vice versa. And this is all regardless of the industry that you come from. We have success stories and everything from standard manufacturing, distribution, service, configure to order, project driven, process, upstream, downstream, every industry that you can imagine, we have really played in and had success. So let's start by talking about the first module, which is demand management. So I'm going to be taking time to talk about our strategy, some of the major impacts that these tools can have. And then following me, Naveen is going to actually show you some of the software so you can visualize what we're talking about. So our demand management tool is purpose-built to streamline your forecasting workflow while having a patented, powerful engine underneath the hood. So this means allowing you to do things like incorporate a broad variety of demand sources, sales team, marketing team, market information, weather information, whatever you need to bring in, to predict and model your demand using a variety of different tools, and I'll show you that in just a second, but also collaborate across multiple plans and perform what-if scenarios. And the differentiator here is that all of this is done using a machine learning algorithm with 19 different forecasting models. So models of the past, tools of the past, even many tools of the present may have 1, 2, maybe somewhere around 4 models. Usually you have to pick one of those and it kind of is applied to your whole plan. It's not really allowing you to select which aspects of your plan or which product groups get treated differently. With our Bayesian forecasting algorithm, it's going to be giving you the best fit line every single time incorporating whatever models and whatever factors is necessary for your data. And the main benefit of this is that as you continue to grow, as you continue to use the software, the machine learning algorithm is going to keep up with you, right? It's going to learn from the data that you give it. So it's only going to get better as you continue to feed it more data. And this is incorporating a broad variety of additional factors, such as things like external events. So, your seasonality, your weather, your different factors, entire changes in how you're forecasting a product, demand shocks or spikes, as well as automatic outlier detection. And again, all of this is being applied automatically to your forecasts. I say that when I was a planner, I used to spend about 80% of my time doing the manual work, uploading, massaging my forecasts, analyzing everything. And then 20% of my time was really spent making those tactical, strategic decisions on the data that I had just analyzed. Now we're automating a large majority of that process, instead giving your planners the time back to analyze the exceptions, analyze the changes, and make those strategic decisions on both the forecasting and the supply side. And with that, let's talk about the supply side. Our supply planning allows you to really adhere to all aspects of your supply chain, be it as simple or as complicated as it is. Again, hammering home the unified planning process that as I make changes in demand, I'm going to see impacts downstream in my supply and vice versa. This is incorporating things like capacity constraints, lead times, safety stocks, order modifiers, everything you need to really paint the picture of how your supply chain functions. Our tool can respect with those rules. And again, this is going through as complex or as simple as a supply chain as you need. Later on, Sandeep from Sakura is going to be showing you how complex a bill of material the tool can really handle. So if you're just starting simple products, or if you have thousands and thousands of parts that you're planning, we can handle everything on both ends of the spectrum and in between. But again, the main goal that we're getting here is that we're going to be giving you automatic recommendations for what to buy, make, or transfer, and allowing you to spend the time managing those exceptions where you do need to make those changes or where there are problems. Now, I know we're speaking to a lot of NetSuite installs here, so I want to highlight a really good path to really gain true value from these tools. And again, our core modules are in the center there, the demand and supply planning, and these are going to pull from all of your NetSuite information, right? Your order management, those sales orders. If you have a sales forecasting system, that can be pulled in as well. All of your supply information on hand, WIP, capacity, work orders, purchase receipts, purchase requisitions, everything like that is all going to get pulled in. We're going to absorb that, give you a true, full, visible picture into what's going on with your supply chain, and then give you executables back out, right? New purchase orders, new work orders, new inventory updates, etc. Now, if you need more than this, or you're, again, kind of looking for the future, you can add on top of this our sales and operations planning, right? Combined with another tool we have in the cloud called Enterprise Performance Management, which is financial planning and budgeting. You're able to get a full integrated business planning process, right? Operational plans, financial budgets, full reconciliation of everything going on within the business. And then those that are very supply reliant, supply heavy, contract manufacturers, et cetera, you can start bringing in the supply chain collaboration tool as well. So let's talk about some value. These are some of the quickest time to value products within the cloud suite of applications. These can be very impactful as well. We're talking about reducing inventory costs, avoiding stockouts, increasing customer satisfaction, as well as making higher return on your assets, as well as faster supply chain decisions, right? With enhanced analytics, faster runtimes, and built-in workflows, no longer is it taking days or a long time to make decisions. It's now just taking minutes. And later, Sandeep is going to be showing you some of the benefits that Sakura experienced from implementing this tool. The last thing I have to show before I pass it off to Naveen is I want to bring it back to how we started this, the concept of the pace of change, right? Not only are we giving you the tools to keep up with the pace of change, but we are accelerating the pace of change. In the past few years, we have made major advancements to our planning tools, including adding replenishment planning, which is for distribution, service industries, anything where you're having fast movements and fast replenishment of goods, backlog management for efficient order prioritization of your sales orders, production scheduling for line level productions for our heavy manufacturing industry, as well as constantly having quarterly updates and enhancements. So this update screenshot here is of a recent update where we're using machine learning to give you system generated lead time recommendations so you can more accurately predict supply arrival dates. And all of this is built into the tools that we showed you here. So they're constantly updating, constantly innovating, and keeping you at the forefront of change. So for those that want to take control of their future and plan accordingly, Naveen is going to show you some of that now. So Naveen, take it away.
Thanks, Kyle. Let me get started. So thanks, Kyle, for covering the brief introduction about Oracle Supply Chain Planning Cloud. I am Naveen Saxena. I have 15 years of experience implementing Oracle Supply Chain Planning and Cloud solutions. I'll be spending the next 30 minutes to go over some exciting stuff to move your supply chain planning onto Oracle Cloud. We plan to cover Oracle's demand management, Oracle supply planning, and Oracle sales and operation planning. All the three products are integrated, having the same data model. What it means is you can plan your demand, supply together, and align them to your strategic business goals. Each of the product has in-depth functionality, but we'll be focusing on the ones which really impacts decision making. Let's get on to the application. So the first is the demand management. So what is demand management? So it's needless to say how important demand management is for any business. Oracle's demand management has ability to analyze demand by segment, predict demand to manage variability, evaluate the impact of demand changes, shape demand to achieve business objectives. Analyze demand by segmentation. So basically, this provides the ability to using the business rules to assign a group of items that share same characteristics. So you can segment all your items into different segments and then plan using this analyze demands by segment. Predict demand. Predict demand is the most important aspect where you generate the forecast. Oracle's demand management uses the built-in machine learning algorithm, which along with the patent Bayesian algorithm to generate the forecast. It not only takes into consideration the history, which is a standard, but also takes into consideration some other parameters like seasonality, anomalies, level shifts, price changes, and all the stuff while generating the forecast. Evaluate the impact of demand changes. So basically, you can compare your forecast over a period from against one product to another product. You can compare your forecast period on period, how it's maturing over a period of time. Also, you can compare your forecast with your history to ensure that the forecast is accurate. Comparative analysis is the key in analyzing any demand plan. Next is the shape demand to achieve business objectives. In order to align with multiple other stakeholders like sales, marketing, it's always important to have to shape your demand and do a what if scenario. Like for example, you're in the near future, you're seeing some marketing event which is happening. So you assume that there will be a 5% growth in your business. So in order to achieve this, you want to simulate your demand plan with a 5% additional forecast and see how it's what would be the results. So you can do this using demand management system. Having said this, let's switch on to the application to deep dive into some additional functionalities. Let me first introduce to a fictitious user and demand planner who is Gideon Larkin. Gideon Larkin is a planner at Supremo Fitness. Supremo Fitness is a fictitious company which manufactures fitness equipments, treadmills, VR trainers, incline trainers, fitness accessories. So on a day in the life of a demand manager starts off looking at a demand plan output. A demand plan has been run based on the history for Supremo variables business, and this is how the output looks. Lot of complex data, huge data is available in the most simplified and easily readable format. So demand management in Oracle Supply Chain Planning Cloud provides the ability to have multiple KPIs which can be customized based on different business requirements, and have access to different demand planners based on which kind of business they would like to analyze. Coming to the key aspects of any demand plan output. First, a demand planner comes on a Monday morning or a day morning after the plan is run to see how it's behaving. One of the first, he looks at the history. The shipments history analysis is the infotile which he looks at, and he sees some a good and decent graphs which are available, which are customizable based on the business requirement. So he'll start off looking at the outlier analysis. Outliers are an extreme demand points in the history. So if you see in this graph, there are some peak points in the history, which constitutes of some additional forecast. But demand management automatically analyzes these outliers and does the smoothing automatically. See, not always you want to consider these demand peaks because of some uncertainties to generate your forecast. In order to avoid that situation, demand management automatically does the smoothing. As you can see, this orange, this is a smoothing forecast which comes out as an output of a demand plan. However, providing the way a planner can look at your outlier demand. So this is one of the UIs where a demand planner can look at the outliers and then see how the demand planning is able to smoothen the forecast. Next important aspect, which is most critical for any business, is forecast accuracy. The accurate the forecast, the higher the revenue, the higher the customer satisfaction. So with this, we look on to another infotile, which is the forecast accuracy. So each of the forecast accuracy, you can see two different graphs underneath this forecast accuracy analysis. One is shipments forecast made by product category. MAPE is mean absolute percentage error. This is a statistical term used to determine accuracy. The higher the percentage error, the lower is the accuracy. If you see this graph in the supremo variables division, there are a set of item categories. One of the categories is having high MAP, which is highlighted in red, whereas the others having a low MAP. So this UI helps planners to drill down from this to analyze what could be the potential reasons for the high MAP. So this is one of guided a tool which is available where he can drill down and see how the plan, look into the details to see how the plan, what is happening, and then take some actions on it. Another important graph which a planner would like to analyze in his day in a life is look at the shipments waterfall analysis graph. Shipments waterfall analysis graph is a graph which shows history and also forecast period on period. So final shipments forecast 3 months ago, 2 months ago, 1 month ago, 1 month. So as you can see that there is a gradual increase in the forecast values, which indicates that business is growing. Since the growth is gradual, and this indicates that the forecast numbers are accurate. If there are some abnormalities in the forecast, it helps. This graph helps planners determine the reasons for the abnormalities and take some corrective actions. So shipments waterfall analysis is one of the useful tool for forecast analysis in order to maintain accuracy. With this, we drill into another important aspect of forecast analysis, which is causal decomposition. So what is this causal decompositions? So as we all know that forecast is generated based on some history data which is available for a product, taking into consideration some other forecasting parameters. But what makes Oracle's demand management the best in the industry is ability to do take into consideration some external factors apart from history. So if you see here in this graph, some portion of the forecast is generated out of the history, some portion of the forecast generated out of the seasonality. So there could be something like some products sell more in a summer, or you sell more a hot coffee on a snowy day. So seasonalities are something which are something not related to the history, but there are some trends based on which the forecast numbers get generated. So demand management takes into consideration these not only the history but also the seasonality decomposition to generate the forecast. And what makes it best is you can distinguish what portion of the forecast constitutes of the standard history ones, and also what portion of it constitutes to the causal decompositions. And also there could be your in most businesses you see a gradual increase in your business. So in order to account for this, you put a something called market growth rate. So that also takes into consideration while generating the forecast. So not only the history is taken into consideration, but also these additional external parameters are taken into consideration while generating the forecast, which makes the best-in-class forecasting engine available in the planet. With this, I go on to another important function of a demand planner is to able to forecast for new products. We all know that uh, technology is changing and customer expectations are changing rapidly, and the product life cycles are shortened. So we are seeing new products coming in very frequently into the market. In order to overcome these challenges, it is all the more important for a business to be ready to generate the forecast for new products, taking into consideration the history of its corresponding product. Let's deep dive into this new product forecast analysis, which helps the demand planner to analyze the new product forecast. Let's look at this manage forecast lifecycle by item. This has from this UI, the planner can drill into an UI where he can do this manage product launch. Manage product launch helps planners to generate forecasts for new products which have not been launched in the market. So he can use the history of an existing product and generate the forecast out of it. And another important aspects is you want some of the important aspects in generating the forecast for a new product is ability to reach the product for new customers. So you want, in today's world, some companies want to reward its best customers to have early access to new products. So in order to achieve, you want to release these products only to a selected set of customers. So this new product launch UI, you can select a set of customers for whom you want to launch this new product and generate the forecast accordingly. Another important aspect which is taken while generating the forecast is the factor. See, you want to take into consideration not only the existing shipment history of a similar product, but also some additional 5% buffer or additional 5% of market growth while generating the forecast. So in order to take these into consideration, we have a parameter called factor, which can be inputted by a demand planner in the plan, and that is automatically taken into consideration, and the forecast for the new product is generated taking into consideration this factor. So this makes these two factors of releasing the generating the focus for a set of customers, taking into consideration additional factor, makes it best new product launch demand planning engine available in the market. So this with this, I move on to another important aspects of day in the life of a demand planner is to analyze your forecast with generatable system along with sales forecast, marketing forecast. So marketing team, sales team share some forecast, and you want to do a comparative analysis. So this data can be inputted automatically into the plan, and a comparison info tile can be analyzed by a demand planner. If you see this graph, and there is in the first graph, you see that the sales forecast is higher than the shipments forecast. This triggers a bell for a planner to discuss with the sales to understand why there is a increase in the sales forecast. So this could be something like a marketing event happening in the future. So you can discuss with the sales team and then come up with a consensus forecast. This comparative analysis of shipments forecast versus sales forecast not only serves, we can do it for other marketing and other external forecast and do a comparative analysis in the plan itself. Helps the planner to manage his day in a life effectively. So demand management has rich functionality, but in the interest of time, I only cover the ones which are key differentiators and which will help the demand planners manage their day in a life effectively. So the next, I move on to another product, which is a subset of demand management, which is replenishment planning. See, all businesses want to reduce inventory and improve customer satisfaction. One of the important thing is to be able to do replenishment planning. Replenishment planning are typically done for B and C class items, where you don't take into consideration the forecast, but you do replenishments whenever there is a stock out situation. But you don't want to wait till the stock out situation. You want to take into consideration some inventory parameters. So replenishment planning helps maintain optimal inventory at each levels of the supply chain to meet customer service level targets and lower your inventory cost. So what this replenishment planning does is it takes into consideration the demand at different distribution locations or different warehouses and your manufacturing plants, and then does a replenishments automatically. So before doing the replenishments, it calculates your safety stock, based on which it calculates inventory policies. Like some of the inventory policies which are available out of box are min-max, reorder point, economic order quantity. Min-max is, for example, whenever your inventory for a particular location reaches the min, then you replenish up to the max. Economic order quantity. In cases of items where the cost is a key parameter, then the engine automatically takes that inventory policy, and then what calculates economic order quantity and does a replenishment using the economic order quantity. So this replenishment planning, which is subset of demand management, helps planners plan their B and C class items effectively, doing a uh, doing activity of replenishing the items at different levels of the supply chain. So not only this does a replenishment, but also it takes into consideration something like inventory rebalancing. So inventory rebalancing is if you have excess inventory in a particular location and you have a shortage in another distribution location or a store, right? Then it does a rebalancing. So it automatically the plan generates a transfer order from a location where there is an excess inventory to a location where there is a shortage. So this rebalancing act automatically is done by the plan. So you can model your plan at multiple levels, not only at the org level, but also at the sub-inventory level or the store levels. So this helps plan your multiple store locations and company-owned inventories or vendor-managed inventories effectively. So in the interest of time, I'll move on to the next product, which is available as part of Oracle Supply Chain Planning solution, which is Oracle Supply Planning. So Oracle Supply Planning is a critical. Supply planning is the most important aspect of any business, where a supply planner plans for the materials, resources, and then uh, and generate the planned orders to meet the forecast or the sales orders. So day in the life of a supply planner again starts off opening a supply plan, analyzing the supply plan. Oracle's supply planning solution has rich dashboards designed to present complex data in simplified business context, helping our planners to monitor and respond to changes. So if you see here, this is all a complex data in the most simplified format possible. These are all customer based on which business, which planner analyzing, and then based on different measures on which the planner want to look at the data. So this has rich graphs like revenue, forecast analysis, demand at risk, resource utilization, supplier utilization, exceptions handling, and plan recommendations. Let's start off with the most important aspect of any supply planner's day in a life is to look at demand at risks. Ultimately, he wants to ensure that he is able to fulfill the complete forecast uh, uh, without any challenges. So this demand at risk provides the planners with the ability to look at the data at different level. If you can see that, I can drill down from at all products level into a particular cardio fitness machine categories, and more details into treadmills, ellipticals, and fitness equipments. So these are all customizable, and then I can look at your demand at risk at different levels. Let's look at the granular level, which is the item level. So one of the treadmills has having a demand at risk higher value. So this is, if you can say, this heat map, right? This shows that the the dark blue indicates that there is a high demand at risk, and the light blue shows there is no demand at risk. So this triggers a bell for a planner to only focus on dark blue areas and then drill down to act upon it. Let's do it live. So let's drill down into a guided demand fulfillment UI. So demand fulfillment UI helps supply planners analyze the reasons for the demand at risk, understand what are the demand at risk, and then provide some recommendations. So this gives this demand at risk summary gives a brief like a graphical representation of what is the demand at risks and what is the value, and at the summary level. You can drill deep into what is the count of demands at risk. So it says that a set of forecast based on the material and the resource availability available as of today, you're not able to meet 81 demands, or some constitutes of forecast, some constitutes of sales orders, which is a concern for a supply planner. Then he so not only the demand fulfillment gives a pictorial representation of the overall demand at risk, and also gives the numbers, but also it gives the recommendations. So which is the key. So the planner can just analyze the recommendations and take some actions. So the first two, the recommendation summary, at risk demand shows what are the demands which are at risk, but recommendations helps planner to take some actions. So 81 of the demands are at risk. The forecast or the sales orders are at risk because of some resource shortage available, which is there for a set of resources. This rings a bell to a planner to take some corrective actions. So based on this recommendation, he can talk to a production manager and see how he can mitigate the risks. So he can talk to the production manager and see if there are ways he can do an overtime for a resource, for a labor, or he can do some additional hours work over a weekend, or take some do a contract or outside processing for some of the critical resources, or and then take some corrective actions. So this all is possible. So you can take the corrective actions, accept the recommendations, and rerun the plan to see the impact. The rerun of the plan is in light side mode. It takes about a few minutes to see the impacts. In the interest of time, I'll not be doing all these activities, but this demand fulfillment is a rich UI, which is the best UI available in the market, where to help supply planners analyze the demands at risk, and then take look at the recommendations and act upon the recommendations. It not only gives the recommendations for resource availability, but it can also give some expedite some purchase orders which have been available, or expedite some work orders, add some supplier capacity available for some of its components, and so on and so forth. So this recommendations helps the planners to take some corrective decisions, and not only take the decisions, but also rerun the plan to see the impacts. With this, I move on to another important aspects of demand planners' day in a life is to analyze the demand plan, the bill plan. So what is a bill plan? Bill plan is used to analyze end-to-end supply chain relationships that span across end items, components, supplies, and resources. So you can configure this demand plan based on business requirements. For example, you want to look at some criteria like look at only the critical components resources. So in this case, I've taken a criteria like look at only the critical components and resources, analyze the data. And another important aspect to see this data is very cumbersome. It's very it's organized, but it doesn't ring a bell for a planner. One way to typically look at the most problematic areas or the concerns is this highlight exceptions. So in this critical components and resources, a planner can look at something like resource overload. So once you highlight this exception, right, this gives this refreshes the UI and then Yeah, this highlights that there is a excess or that resource overload exceptions. So if we see that one of the resources having a resource utilization of more than 100%, which is practically not possible. So this highlight exceptions helps planners to analyze the problem areas and then discuss with the concerned department to take some corrective actions. So this is a cool UI available where he can look at the data at different levels based on his business requirement. The criteria is all customizable based on how the planner wants to look at the data. Exceptions. So exceptions are key element to evaluate and improve your plan. Oracle supply chain planning has multiple exceptions, which are out of box, and also has a flexibility to create some custom exceptions based on business requirements. So if you, so I'll just highlight some of the out of box exceptions. Some of it is demand it is due to insufficient lead times. The item lead time is not able to fulfill the meet the demand. So the lead times are not, so resource shortage. So there are some resources which are not available in order to meet the demand. Resource overload exceptions. Then orders with insufficient lead time, orders to be rescheduled. So it recommends that a set of sales orders needs to be, work orders needs to be rescheduled, a purchase orders for some of the components needs to be rescheduled. This exception UIs provides a planner with the ability to look at what has caused the demand at risk and what and take some actions. And this is a rich UI which is available out of box and which helps planner to take some decisions and then act upon it. So you can have exceptions at different levels of your different hierarchy levels. So with this, I move on to another analysis which supply planner does, which is the pegging analysis. So pegging analysis is something like the planner wants to look at how the demand has been pegged. So there are some planned orders generated for one of the items which have been pegged to a work order. So this pegging analysis provides a planner to look at your analyze the supply and demands component by component and see how the 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 netting and the pegging is happening in the plan. So these are some of the cool features which are available in supply planning. It not only does this, it also does a lot of other functionality like forecast consumption, consuming forecast against the sales orders. It also does something like end item substitution, component substitution, which are which typically a planner would like to take into consideration while running a plan. So these are some of the key elements, but it has rich functionality. In the interest of time, I'll end this supply planning and then move on to backlog management. Backlog management is a subset of supply planning. In cases where your demand exceeds supply, all the more is important for you to effectively plan your sales orders. So conventional order promising systems do a first come on first service. Whenever you get a sales order, right, you promise your sales orders pay first come first serve. But over a period of time, you have multiple sales orders in the system, and you want to prioritize them based on different priority rules. So this demand backlog management does this whole activity. So a planner can look at this backlog analysis and sees that okay, there in one of the organization there is a huge delay for a sales orders. Delay is the scheduled dates are greater than the requested or the expected dates from the customer. He or she can drill into the details to analyze which are the sales orders impacted and then do reprioritization using the demand priority rule. Some of the parameters this demand priority rule can be configured is revenue and different customers like high priority customer can be taken into consideration. Revenue for orders which yield high revenue can be prioritized versus the ones which yield low revenue. You can have a demand priority rule saying that high priority customer needs to get the supply prior to the orders for a low priority customer. So these are configurable. You can run the backlog plan in lights out mode and then see the results and then release it back to NetSuite's order management system seamlessly. It not only does that, it also does this allocation. So allocation is something like you would, most of the times you want to allocate some set of part of your stock to some high priority customers to ensure there is no stock out situation. So allocation can be done at for different attributes, different customers, demand classes, customer classes. All this can be configured using the backlog configuration UI, and then a backlog plan can be run taking into consideration. This demand satisfaction matrix provides the planner with the ability to analyze which are the sales orders which are at risk. If you see here, right, all the sales orders planned on time, and it allocation details provides that what is the supply available, allocated supply, consumed supply, and more details. So backlog management is one of the which is part of supply planning, helps planners to plan their sales orders backlog effectively. With this, I switch on to I've covered two major products: demand management, supply planning. Demand management, we covered how demand plan helps a demand planner, how replenishment planning, which is part of demand management cloud service, helps a planner to plan their B and C class items. We have seen that how a supply plan of Oracle supply chain planning helps a supply planner, and also have seen a backlog management, which helps plan your or effectively manage your sales orders backlog. With this, I switch on to sales and operation planning. So sales and operation planning is one of the important aspect of any business. Traditionally, we have seen that it's a long horizon plans, which helps to balance your supply and demand for manufacturing companies. It involves multiple stakeholders like demand planners, supply planners, sales teams, marketing teams, finance teams. So ultimately, all the teams need to come in sync to come up with a strategic decisions, which will be presented to an executive. So this sales and operation planning effectively does all these activities in a single plan. So it takes into consideration the demand from a demand plan, the supply exceptions from a supply plan, and then it takes into consideration marketing forecast, sales forecast, and takes the budget, and also takes Hyperion or EPM or whatever budgeting tool is available in the market out of box, and then integrates that and comes up with an operating plan. See, it's not always possible to take into consideration all the items and all the resources while running an SNOP plan. So this has something called aggregate bill of resources, which looks at the critical components which are used for manufacturing, critical resources which are used for manufacturing, to generate the SNOP plan output for analysis of plan at executive level. So if it has this all as just like supply plan, demand plan, this has a lot of customizable info tiles suitable for sales and operation planner. So some of the important aspects which a sales and operation planner would like to look at is the margin, his targets. Then he would like to look at the operating plan value with the financial forecast, and then analyze your consensus forecast with your final sales forecast value, and then discuss with the sales to understand if there are any discrepancies. So this sales and operation planning effectively helps plan your long-term SNOP. Another important aspect of SNOP is how effectively you do your sales and operation planning SNOP cycle. So sales and operation planner starts off doing his planning cycle, which involves product review, demand review, supply review, and financial review, and executive review. So these are all customizable. So let's look at the most critical aspect, which is executive review. So whenever executive review is there, right, the final product review has been done, demand review has been done, supply review has been done, finance review has been done, where we know about what would be your new products which are being launched in the market, what are the forecasting numbers, what are your resources and materials on which we will need to have your long-term plan, and also your finance numbers. So after coming up with all these fingers, an executive review meeting happens, looking at all this data, and then doing an executive review. where we can do an effective review process where all the decision items can be taken and then fed into the plan effectively. So not only does this planning, but also helps to collaborate across multiple participants. So you can have multiple participants added to this planning cycle and then share notes across this based on some actions taken or decisions taken out of an executive review meeting, which can be sent over a mail to multiple participants based on your business process. So sales and operation planning helps how effectively you plan your S&OP cycles and also do your aggregate long-term plan. So today we have seen in depth in the live software how effectively Oracle supply chain planning solutions are able to help do your day in, help planners to manage their day in a life, along with some additional out of box functionality, customizable functionality based on business requirements. So so all these are all integrated, available, and which are easy to implement based on business requirements. So with this, I just would like to discuss another aspect of it, which is the integration. So most of the people most of the customers who are on NetSuite would like to understand, oh, we are on NetSuite supply chain management. How would we integrate with supply chain planning? So NetSuite and Oracle's Fusion can be integrated out of box using this Oracle's integrated OIC layer, which helps integrate with a very minimal IT effort, or with a almost nil IT effect, where you can get the supply plan can get real-time dynamic data pulled in from your transaction systems like order management, your manufacturing, and plan real-time. So the APIs which are available out of box in Oracle provides the ability to pull in data from supply planning, supply chain systems like procurement, warehouse management, web manufacturing, and then feed it into the plan, and then plan can be run taking into consideration the current data to generate the output. So if you see this graph, this is all out of box, which runs in the background without any manual intervention. So this solves the problem of integration, where we need to have IT team who needs to configure all these things. No, it's not true. It's all out of box. It's available in just plug and play kind of a thing, where the planner, where we have the integration between your NetSuite with Oracle's Fusion supply chain planning, and implement with a very short implementation cycle. With this, I pass on to Sakura US, who have already implemented Oracle supply chain planning. He'll be covering some of the numbers and his takeaways during the implementation process. Over to you, Sandeep.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Naveen. So yeah, you covered a lot of topics effectively in a very short time. Hello, everyone. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to share Sakura's experience with the Oracle Supply Chain Planning Cloud. Firstly, I would like to give some brief introduction about myself, and also just to go over some history and background about Sakura FineTech USA. So my name is Sandeep Sindol. I'm working as a senior IT manager at Sakura FineTech US. I have about 20 plus years of experience in the field of IT. I have been with the company for almost 17 years now. I have seen the company using, sorry, my mouse. I've seen the company using the legacy system and now transforming our IT and our backend operations into the cloud world. Throughout my career, I have been committed to use the power of IT to drive efficiencies, enhance the productivity, and enable all the seamless collaboration in our back office operations. One of the biggest transformation in all these years was working for Sakura, was implementing Oracle Fusion Cloud ERP system. My role here in Sakura is not only the technical aspects, but also implement and develop the new software applications. So today, I'm excited to share with you all the Sakura's experience of using Oracle Supply Chain Planning Cloud module. So a little bit about Sakura on who we are and what we do. Sakura is based out of Southern California, and our head office is in Torrance, California. We specialize in the development of manufacturing and distribution of medical laboratory equipments, particularly in the field of pathology and histology. We provide a wide range of products and solutions for laboratories and medical professionals who are involved in cancer diagnostics and research. Our products are catered to help in identifying and understanding the diseases at the cellular level. We have 3 global regions, one in USA, here in Southern California. In Europe, we are based out of Netherlands, and to cover our Asian regions, we are in Japan. And lastly, Sakura's vision is to become the first company that achieves the full pathology automation by providing an integrated solution to our end customers in cancer diagnostics and research. So to outline today's agenda, I'll be covering these 3 main points. Basically, what are the challenges we face during in our supply chain management, and how did we implement the Oracle supply chain planning? And lastly, we'll be covering some key benefits and success metrics, just to showcase how in a day of planner's life, how the system is helping them to be more efficient. So what are the challenges we faced prior to implementing Oracle Supply Chain Planning Cloud? In order to understand that, let me give you some background on how our manufacturing setup looks like. The image that you see on the right side is one of our instruments, which is called Tissue Tech Genie Advanced Staining System. It is a first and a fully automated stainer for immunohistochemistry. On a very high level, the staining system is essentially for visualizing and studying the distribution of proteins in tissues, which contributes to our understanding of normal and pathological processes at a cellular or molecular level. So similar to these instruments, we also manufacture reagents, which are nothing but chemicals. We have about a total of 2,000 finished goods, which includes instruments and reagents. We have about 7,000 plus sub-assemblies, and we have about 25,000 raw materials, which includes spare parts, accessories, and consumables. So all these instruments have a very complex bill of material for manufacturing. It is really hard for a planning team to come to have a visibility across supply chain to make sure all the required components are available and are on time, so that the assembly should not stop. Especially for the sales orders from customers, where we were looking to fulfill the order in full and ship it to the customer on time, which was not happening. And we ended up having many partial order fulfillments, which in turn brings down the overall customer satisfaction in the complete fulfillment process. We also noticed that manufacturing was falling behind because of shortage in raw material. I mean, in any planning team, when they don't have a complete visibility to identifying where the raw material sources are coming from, are there any substitutes for the spare parts that are not available? Is there because of inefficient demand forecasting leading to stockouts or overstock situation? So from inventory optimization, we wanted to see how we can bring down the safety stock, reduce the manual process of compiling all the supply and demand data. It was a very time-consuming process for us. So whenever there is a manual and disconnected systems, the inventory management process, we see a lot of delay and errors in the data. So planning team did not have a very high visibility across supply chain, since we have items which have a very longer lead time, which is up to 4 to 5 months. And if we don't act on time, then we lose the node, and which will impact the inventory and also impacts the manufacturing down the line. So we wanted to reduce the planning time. The team was heavily relied on a lot of reports from all these different departments to consolidate and to get a finalized, summarized reports for the planning and ordering. So this was all disconnected and disintegrated system. These were the challenges that we saw in a planning everyday planners everyday day-to-day job. So just to give you some highlights of one of those instruments that we discussed. So here's one of the BOM, which is basically a complex BOM in our way, which you see that there are seven assembly lines, which has about 8,000 total items that we need to be available in order to manufacture this instrument. And there were about 1,700 different components to manufacture this. So when we are talking about planning side of business, we laid out 4 areas as the main business case, as mentioned here. So planning parameters, which means we wanted the better SKU coverage and less excess safety stock. And on the lifecycle management, we wanted to decrease the net downs, which was happening mostly because of excess inventory. Secondly, as you know that in any manufacturing organization, we see that there will be definitely a lot of scraps as a part of manufacturing because of quality issues, rework. So we wanted to decrease that component scraps. And on the supply chain, we wanted the system to recommend the action versus only understanding the results on how we can fulfill the needs. And we wanted to limit the work involved in understanding where the bottlenecks are and understand where the shortages are coming from before even it happens. And lastly, in the production scheduling is where day-to-day activities on all the work orders to monitor and check where the bottlenecks are, and if there are any red flags for the manufacturing teams to complete these work orders for better production throughput, and in the process making sure that we are meeting the due dates for all the demand. So why we decided to go with the Oracle Supply Chain Planning Cloud? Not only we were seeing our US operations were increasing, but we were expanding, and our European division was also coming on board with Oracle, which was managing 14 different countries in Europe. So from one business unit here in US to addition of 14 more business unit in Europe, we needed to do more intercompany transactions. We wanted a system which will help us in managing the inventory movement and material management more efficiently. So we looked into Oracle Supply Chain Planning and came to know that it is becoming more stronger and stable system back in 2019. Oracle helped us with some customer references in the similar industry, who were using the same supply chain planning, which gave us much more exposure and confidence in implementing this product. So users were excited about the functionality, the rich modern UI that displayed dashboards and graphs, which were out of the box available for them to use. The system was quick, well designed, and the planning team were able to drill down from the planning workbench to all the way to the transaction level to find where the demand is coming. That gave users complete visibility across the whole organization transactions. So system allowed us to create some safety stock for critical items. It also helped us in identifying the issues where we needed to substitute the parts. It makes sure that our assembly line does not stop due to any part shortages, which is very crucial for any manufacturing organization. So you do not want to see any interruption, especially in the assembly lines. So system also provided us on how to handle any exceptions from the planning workbench, which I will be touching upon in my next few slides. And from the IT side, we were excited as well about the cloud system, where we don't have to buy these huge servers and hardware, and no need to worry about maintenance. So it was just configuring and enabling this new module for planning. And lastly, when it comes down to the implementation timeline, we were talking to our implementation partners. They were mentioning about very short implementation timelines, which I was not a believer initially, but I was surprised to see how fast we were able to enable and complete the implementation of Supply Chain Planning Cloud. So lastly, discussing about some key benefits. The end users like the simulation feature where they can program the parameters and run the simulation to find before and after results, which helps to take some informed decisions on how to move forward when a new scenario is given to them. So with the Oracle supply chain planning, now we can run multiple supply simulations using different assumptions. Plan simulations help us like evaluate the effect of an engineering change order, or there might be some potential supply disruptions for a huge new order. In this case, we can adjust sourcing, move the supply and demand to a different dates. We can update some item attributes, change the bill of material if required, and revise any resource availability to see how it will impact on the current plan. So before we publish the new revised plan, it helps planner to simulate and see these impacts. And improve demand forecasting, because of the advanced forecasting capability, the system allows us to predict and demand more accurately. So this helps in optimize inventory levels and reduce the risk of stockouts or overstock situation. Cost savings, we lowered our inventory costs by up to 7% with the help of handling the exceptions and following the recommendations by the system. With more accurate demand forecasting and optimized inventory for the supply plans, we were able to reduce operational costs associated with the excess inventory, the rush orders, the inefficient resource allocation, all those parameters. Enhanced inventory management. The system provides us a better visibility into the inventory levels, helping us maintain some optimal stock levels and reducing the carrying cost. How we lowered the cost. I mean, one of the reasons is optimized manufacturing. So we are both instrument and reagent manufacturing. So when I talk about reagents, there are nothing but these are chemicals, and hence there is a shelf life for all those finished goods, especially for reagents. So we had to make sure we are making these reagents only when needed. So the demand and supply are optimized and efficient and reduce the process of rework for any expired products. And optimize supply planning. I mean, we can use the system to create efficient supply plans that consider demand forecast, lead times for any supplier constraints. This enables us to with a better decision making in regards to production schedule and for our manufacturing, for our purchasing or distribution teams. Collaborative planning. The system helped us in collaborating among different departments within our organization and even with an external vendors in the supply chain. The collaborative approach helped us align the planning efforts and respond more effectively to the changes that we were seeing in demand and supply. It increased our efficiency. Whenever there is an automation of various supply chain processes using this planning workbench, which will lead us into increased operational efficiency, reduce the manual intervention, and it minimized a lot of manual errors. Scale. When you talk about scalability, supply chain planning cloud system is designed to scale as the organization grows, accommodating increased transaction volumes and also expanding supply chain operation across multiple business units and regions. In our case, we schedule this planning process to run on a weekly basis, and which completes it takes about 30 minutes to complete the whole MRP plan for us. And lastly, there are many out-of-the-box KPIs and dashboards and graphs that the end user can customize as per their needs, which we can drill down and take action right from the planning workbench. So I'm almost end of my presentation here, but before I hand it over to the next team, I want to just to showcase a couple of dashboards that we use, which has some real-time data from our organization, just to showcase how these out-of-the-box dashboard works. So here is one of the dashboard and the graphs that the system provides. But in the interest of time, I will just share a couple of them on a very high level. Okay, so this dashboard that we are seeing currently is called the demand at risk summary. Naveen already explained in his presentation. So I'm just going to go on a very high level here. So demand at risk can happen due to many reasons, like there might be a resource shortage, there might be a supplier capacity shortage, or maybe due to insufficient lead time, or there might be a late supply pegged to the forecast. So if you hover your mouse on any of these colored boxes, you will notice that it shows the quantity and also the value associated for that quantity, which is at risk. So you can drill down from this and take action right away from the screen. So in our case, we configured different colors. What you saw in Navin's screen was a different color. So it is very customizable, and you can customize as per business needs. Going on to the next slide. So here is one more graph, which is called exception graph. As you see, there are 3 different exceptions here. One says order to be canceled. So items with the orders that that the planning process recommends that needs to be canceled. So that might be many reasons. There might be no demand for those items, and we may not need it at this time. So, or there might be some orders where the demand from where the original order was canceled. So we don't need this to procure anymore. So there are. It also shows the graphs where the orders needs to be rescheduling. So in this case, where items with the orders that planning process recommends to be rescheduled to an earlier date, because the system is predicting that there is a demand that is coming, so we may need these items earlier than what we anticipated, and orders to be rescheduled out. So this is again same thing where the planning process recommends to reschedule to a later date. So at this time there is no demand for this order, but there is a demand coming in future, so we can reschedule all those orders for a future date. So yeah, in the end, I would say initially when going to cloud, we had all these questions about whether cloud is the right fit for us. Will Oracle will be there to help us? Will the implementation partner have all this knowledge about this product? Is it going to be a really slow system because it is in the cloud, and so on? So we were happy with the end result, and hence sharing our experience today and the journey with you all. So thank you for your time. Back to you, Alex and Carl.
Awesome. Thank you, Sandeep, and thanks to all webinar attendees for staying on with us a little bit over time. We'll be following up with a copy of our recording from today for your reference, and your Oracle representative is going to follow up with you individually as well to see if you have any outstanding questions that we didn't have time to get to for the day. But just want to say again, thanks everybody for your time today. Really appreciate your attendance and your questions, and hope everybody has a great rest of your Wednesday.